Oh, hello, friends. It's the JHO Show, and it's your favorite time on Thursday afternoon. We're live on Facebook Live, coming to you from the Meadowlands TV control room, a room that not too many people get to go to, but as you can tell, it is bustling with excitement and bustling with activity here. A full live audience is joining us in this control room here for the JHO Show. If you're new to the program, welcome. I'm JHO. We're going to take you through the late pick 4 on Saturday night coming up at the Meadowlands. Remember, live racing returns to the Big M this Saturday. 12 races on the program, post time 7:15. No stakes races this week, but the following week and the week after, lots of stakes racing action, all leading up to that big card on November 25th. We'll have the Fall Final Four, those big end-of-the-year races for the 2-year-olds, and the 4 TVG free-for-all finals. And I've heard a rumor, perhaps, that a certain top 3-year-old will be taking on the Elders in one of those TVG finals. Not sure that I can tell you yet, but I did hear a pretty reliable rumor. So you'll want to stay tuned as we get a little closer to November 25th. That should be a lot of fun. If you're coming out to the races this weekend, we're play That's My Driver on Saturday night. You can fill out an entry form at the promotions desk located in the lower clubhouse level. If your favorite driver wins the race, 2 winners will be drawn to win a $50 betting voucher. It's pretty cool. It's free money in your pocket that you can use to bet on. So that's all good. That's coming up this Saturday here at the Meadowlands. But also this Saturday is the second week of the Pick 10 Survivor wager. Remember, that wager requires you to pick the winners of the first 10 races of the card. No big deal there. But remember, the rub is that as people are eliminated after each leg, when they don't pick the winner, the wager continues until there is just one winning ticket, and that person will win the entire pool minus the 15% takeout. Now, what we saw last week was that there were more than 30 people who were all eliminated after the same race, so they all split in the pool minus the takeout. So there was about 11,600 wagered into the Pick 10 Survivor, and they all took home just under $300. Remember, that pool is guaranteed at $10,000. So that's the Pick 10 Survivor. I'm curious to see if we can go a little bit longer this week. It was all over after 4 races. Had a couple big long shots to start out the card. In fact, there was 18-1 shot that won the first race, and that knocked out more than 93% of the tickets. So we'll see if how long people can last. I think the goal really is to see if one person can take down that huge jackpot-style wager. But again, it's all paid out in one night. So we'll see what happens there. That starts on race 1. Now, after last week, we saw that we wanted to give people a chance to focus on all the multi-race wagers. So the wagering format is going to be tweaked a little bit starting this weekend. So the Pick 10 Survivor will start on race 1, but the Pick 5, which has been around for a long time with the $25,000 guarantee, that will be moved back one race from race 1 to race 2. So it'll start race 2 on Saturday night. It'll be that 50-cent minimum as usual with the same guarantees. The early Pick 4 will be moved back from race 3 to race 4. And the late Pick 4, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, that will begin on race 8 rather than race 7. So you're going to want to take note of that. I know a lot of people are used to these spots where the Pick 5 and the 2 Pick 4s have been, but those are actually all going to be moved back one spot starting Saturday. The guarantees will remain the same. It's all listed in the program and in your past performances when you download those, but just be aware that those multi-race wagers have all been moved back one spot to accommodate that new Pick 10 Survivor wager. Okay, so we talked about the multi-race wagers. Let's talk about the late Pick 4 on Saturday night, which will now begin in race 8. It'll have that same $50,000 guarantee. And I've got to tell you, this sequence is pretty tough. We've got no stakes races, all overnights, and Pete Koch did a very good job of filling those 4 late Pick 4 races with pretty full fields and horses still coming in from a lot of different places. So let's take a look at some contenders in this late Pick 4, which will start in race 8. And I'm going to start this sequence going 4 deep in the first leg. Remember, I hit it last week if you followed along. It paid $41. Not bad. Not great. Let's hopefully make it pay more. But I'm going to give my top selection to a 3-year-old filly taking on some elders in here. That's number 6, Inverse Hanover. And if you remember that name, it's because she last raced in a race at Chester, but prior to that, she was in the Breeders' Crown finale. Blazing Britches won that race. So she's really been tackling some major 3-year-old stakes company throughout the year, and she's eligible for the Matron, which is next Thursday, November 16th, and I would assume that this spot is her final prep to get her tight enough to go take a shot at the matron. So I'd expect her to be ready to go. Her races all year taking on the best 3-year-old fillies would be good enough to beat this level of mid-level condition pacers. So we'll use her on top, but we're going to go 3 deep just in case she's not 100% ready. I thought number 2, A Hard Day's Night, was interesting. This is a horse coming in from New England, last race at Plain Ridge, and there's several main shippers on the card Saturday night. Tim Tetrick's driving quite a few of them, and this one's won 12 of 27. I know the level of competition may not be Meadowlands quality. In fact, it's Maine quality, and I don't know if that's going to translate, but I do see a horse that's won 12 of 27, and I see Tim Tetrick coming aboard, and I see a horse that draws post too. So that's worth a look at Dave Brower's 10-1 morning line. We'll also use number 5, Avajade Hanover for Jingra and Burke. YG's back aboard. She was coming off a qualifier last time at Pocono on Halloween, left aggressively, made the front, and got nailed in the final jump at even money. But I know that this filly and mare, she's won here at the Meadowlands in sub 150. Her race is back in September against similar quality. She wasn't beaten all that much, pacing in 51 in the piece. And you've got Jingra and Burke, and that's really on you if you're going to throw them off your ticket with the mare that has won here before. And we'll also use the 9, RL's Dream, who comes back to the Meadowlands after a series of races on the half-mile tracks in New York. But when we last saw her here in mid-September at the Meadowlands, she was a winner against similar company in 51. She was 13-1 that day. She's 12-1 on the morning line. She does have the outside post. Bill Mann going to be aboard. Bill Mann was aboard last time in September when she won here, and I say leave her off your ticket at your own peril, dropping out of some tougher races at Yonkers and Saratoga where she has not raced badly. So we'll go 4 deep to kick off this late pick 4. Race 9 is the key to the ticket. And I'm singling here, and I'm singling my man Joe Martin. Yes, you heard me right. I'm going to single my man Joe Martin here in the late pick 4 at the Meadowlands with number 6, Victory Days Will Win. This is one of the 3 divisions in the dash for the G-Notes for these non-winners of 3,500. And Victory Days Will win at this bottom level at the Meadowlands. This is the spot for him. We saw him here last week against this level. Started from an outside post, came flying late in 27 flat to be second, beaten just 2 lengths. But if you go further down the page, you see a win, you see a third, you see a second against similar type company, maybe even a touch above. And that's exactly why I think this horse is in a good spot. Again, this is one of 3 divisions in that dash for the G-Notes, and the way the draw shook out, I just don't see a ton of other horses in here that I really want to rely on too much. Number 2, Buckeye in Charge, is 7-2 on the morning line. He's been off 37 days. If you want to play the horse at a short price off 37 days, that's on you, but the horse is 0 for 24 this year and has shown long layoff lines in the past on his page. In fact, 3 starts back, he had been off for quite some time, and he finished 6th, beating 12 lengths against these types at the Big M. So I know you get Steve Smith, and I know you got a horse that 2 back at this level was beaten just less than a length, but a 37 days really worries me. Frankie Boy's another horse that's raced okay in the past here, but he also doesn't win all that often, just 2 for 30. That's another horse I don't want at a short price. But Victory Days Will Win. I think his recent form at the Meadowlands has all been very solid against these types, and so I will single him. He's 3-1 on the morning line, and he is going to be the key to my late pick 4 ticket on Saturday. Let's go look at race 10. We'll go 3 deep in this spot, and I'm going to go give another chance to a horse that I made one of my best bets last week. That's number 7, Sippin' on Suds, who actually disappointed as your 2-1 favorite last time. Finished 3rd, but closed in 27-2. And really going back and looking at that trip, I think he just was too far back, got going too late, and never really got the type of trip that I hoped he was going to get. That's okay, though. This time we get David Miller aboard for the first time in quite some time. He was aboard, I don't know, going back in early September against Better out of town at Harris, Philadelphia. And again, the story with this horse, Sippin' on Suds, he was purchased for $57,000 back in July at the summer mix sale here at the Meadowlands. Hasn't won yet for the new connections, but will now make his second start this low, and that was the key move I thought last week, which makes him a contender. The drop in class I thought was going to get him home last week. This week, though, I don't want to miss out. The beaten favorite angle, I liked him a lot last week. He's facing similar company. We'll give him the check mark this week as my top selection, but I'm also going to use the 2, Twin Creeks Jesse, another horse that's really win shy, 3 for 40 this year. One of those wins came last time out against fairly similar company at Harris, Philadelphia. Also had a win here at the Meadowlands back in July as the favorite against a touch below this level. So in another field where I think there's not a ton of win contenders, the post is right. We pick up Brett Miller, and we get a horse whose last 2 races have been pretty good, and so we'll kind of ride that form streak and see if we can get that. that home. The other horse I'll use is number 6, Justified, for my man Eric Abatello. Trains and drives. And again, this is a horse who doesn't win all that often, but one of his 2 wins this year came against similar company here at the Meadowlands back in June. He was second twice earlier this year at this same level, so I think that's really the key for him. He's been facing tougher out of town at Yonkers, comes back to the Meadowlands and is back at a class level where he's had some success. So we'll go 2, 6, 7 in race 10. And remember, this is races 8 through 11, the new lineup on the late pick 4. So race 11 now is the last leg of the late pick 4. And again, we'll go 3 deep here, giving the check mark to number 6, Intrigued Intended. Again, here's Bill Mann getting my check mark selection here. Here's a horse that comes out of a race at Saratoga. He hadn't raced in 3 weeks prior to that. And I went back and watched the replay of that race. He was 7-5 that day in his first start for trainer Brett DeRue and really didn't get the greatest trip at all. He sat in, he was able to slip out and get second over trip, but it was forced 3 wide way early into the backstretch and had to lose a ton of ground. He was 3 wide from probably the second half of the backstretch into the final turn, and still into the stretch was very wide. I liked the way he closed ground though and really just ran out of room, but he was really still coming forward at the end of that mile. I think the move to the big track here will really suit him well, and I also think the level of company here in this dash for the G-Notes division will suit him well. I think he's a horse that's done some decent work this year. He shows a mark at Mohawk, which means he can handle a bigger track and just the 2-turn layout. And so I think in another field where I think we're a little shy in the win category on horses that are going to take some money, we'll go to this one at 5-1 on the morning line. The favorite is number 1, So Take That, who was a beaten favorite last out from post 10, and it really wasn't a pretty line from post 10 last week. Tried to leave out of there, ended up getting parked, had to press on, got up to second about halfway through, still parked, and then backed up entirely to finish 9th. Beat just 1 horse home that day. This horse was really good early in this year at the Meadowlands, switched hands a lot of times, but ever since their most recent connections claimed him, he hasn't won it all, and I don't like the recent form. Even with the move to the inside and you still get Yannick, I just don't think that I want to take this horse at a short price, so I'll look elsewhere. Again, check mark selection to the 6, Intrigued Intended. We'll also use the 5, Big Stretch Mark, who's been racing well at Freehold, and we'll use the 7, Stratocaster as well. Another horse that the recent form isn't as good as it was maybe earlier in the year, but he's raced well enough in the past at this level at the Meadowlands where I think he can be a contender. So we'll go 5, 6, 7 here in the last leg. So let's take a look at the ticket. Once again, we've got 1 single, and that's going to come with my man Joe Martin with Victory Days Will Win. There's the ticket for you. It's going to be a 4x1 by 3x3. It'll cost you $18 if you want to go along for the ride. It's the late pick 4 Saturday night, and remember, the late pick 4 will now be on races 8 through 11 as we've moved back the pick 5 and the pick 4 is 1 spot to accommodate the new pick 10 Survivor wager. Wow, that was a ton of talking that I just did, giving you the late pick 4, so I hope you appreciated it, or I hope you decided that I'm dumb and you're going to go elsewhere with all of your selections. Either way, though, you want to be like my man Gabe Pruitt, hashtag send it in, get along in the action, and want to be like me and get that money. That's what we're going to try to do here. Hashtag get that money here on the JHO Show with the late pick 4. What else can we talk about? Hey, Jimmy Takter got his 2000th career training win. Congratulations to Jimmy Takter. Last week, Tim Teacher got number 10,000. Who else had some milestone wins this week? Chris Page? Did I see that come through? 4,000 for Chris Page out in Ohio, so congratulations on that. I think I had like 5 winners last week, so I'm like 9,595 away from 10,000 winners given out this year, so we'll keep shooting for the stars there. We'll still try to get that money, and that's really all I got for you this week on the JHO Show. Rumor has it, again, maybe some top 3-year-olds will be in the TVG Finals on November 25th here at the Meadowlands. More on that. And also rumor has it that a very prominent handicapper will be joining me next week on the JHO Show as my special guest. So stay tuned this week to hear more about the JHO Show next week. In the meantime, though, coming out to the Meadowlands this Saturday night, live racing, 12 races on tap, starting at 7:15. Come out and see me. Come out and see Dave Brower, Hollywood Hayden, whatever you do. Come out to the Meadowlands this weekend. Remember, an unbelievable night of racing coming up on November 25th, TVG Finals and the Fall Final Four. That's the JHO Show for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week right here on Facebook Live at 4 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone.